Today is Friday, September 30th. We'll tell you Hurricane Ian's next expected target and what type of aftermath Florida communities are dealing with from this historic storm. Also, the White House scales back its student loan forgiveness plan while 6 states sue to try and stop it altogether. Plus, how old the longest living U.S. president will be this weekend. Even Twitter is becoming more like TikTok. And the celebrity that just set the type of world record we can all get behind. Those stories and more news to know in today's episode. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. South Carolina appears to be Ian's next target today. While in Florida, officials and residents are assessing the catastrophic aftermath of this historic storm. The hurricane made landfall near Fort Myers as a strong Category 4 with 150-mile-per-hour wind speeds. Well, now, entire communities near the coast are buried in debris, left nearly unrecognizable. Widespread flooding has left many people trapped. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis called the flooding a 1-in-500-year event. Emergency responders have made hundreds of rescues already, and search crews are going door to door doing welfare checks in the hardest hit areas. Although some roads are blocked with downed trees and power lines or bridges have been washed away, which can make it difficult to reach some people in trouble. At last check early this morning, more than 2.2 million people in the state were still without power. More than a dozen people are confirmed dead so far. Officials expect the death toll to rise. The president has declared Florida a major disaster area, which designates more federal resources to help. And if you want to donate, we've posted links with a list of organizations in today's show notes. Ian has since moved through the state of Florida. It lost strength and was downgraded to a tropical storm, but it's not done yet. As Ian jumped over to the East Coast and Atlantic Ocean, it powered back up to hurricane strength once again. Meteorologists say the hurricane has set its sights on South Carolina. Georgia and North Carolina are also expected to feel the storm's effects. Heavy rain and flooding along the coastal areas of those states are a big concern. Residents in Charleston, South Carolina are being told to put sandbags around their homes to protect from the storm surges. The latest predictions see Ian making landfall into South Carolina as a Category 1 hurricane. From there, it should weaken as it moves up the East Coast through Saturday. Russian President Vladimir Putin is set to hold a formal signing ceremony today, claiming to annex 4 areas of Ukraine. The Western countries are calling it all an illegal sham. President Biden said the U.S. will, quote, never recognize Russia's claims on Ukraine's sovereign territory. The United Nations condemned it, too. We're talking about 4 regions of eastern Ukraine that Russian military forces have had control over since the early days of the war. The annexations come a week after citizens there voted to become part of Russia. But Ukrainian and Western leaders say the results were rigged and forced. World leaders fear the move will lead to a dangerous new uptick in fighting, though. Here's why. Russia says an attack on the annexed areas will be seen as a direct attack on their country. The U.S. and European Union say they'll add even more economic sanctions against Russia. Well, in the U.S., the White House has scaled back the student loan forgiveness program. Americans who have federal student loans guaranteed by the government, but, here's the key, held by private lenders, will no longer be eligible for relief. There's an exception if borrowers took certain action before Thursday, but ultimately, administration officials expect about 800,000 people to be affected by this reversal. The White House points to the millions of Americans who will still benefit. It's not clear why this change was made, though. Perhaps concerns over legal challenges had something to do with it. 6 Republican-led states filed a new lawsuit trying to stop the student loan forgiveness plan altogether. They argue it's an illegal use of executive power. And Republicans have also argued that the program is too expensive. Remember, this is a one-time relief program offering up to $20,000 in loan forgiveness depending on income. Despite some legal challenges, the plan is still on for now. The Education Department said this week it'll launch a short online application soon and people can start to apply in October. It looks like, once again, Congress will barely avoid a government shutdown. The Senate overwhelmingly passed a bill to keep the government open and funded beyond today, and the House is expected to pass it before tonight's midnight deadline. If it does pass, it'll head to President Biden's desk for his signature. Then the bill would extend the current level of federal spending. It also authorizes another $12 billion in aid to Ukraine, money for disaster relief here at home, and resettlement money for Afghan refugees. It's only a short-term solution, though. The bill is only set to continue until December 16th, which means Congress will have to negotiate all over again right before the holidays. For now, once the bill passes, the Senate and House will be out of Washington until the midterm elections, just 5 weeks away now. He's the longest living U.S. president, and tomorrow, former President Jimmy Carter will turn 98 years old. So to mark the occasion, the charity he started 40 years ago this week, the Carter Center, is asking everyone to leave him birthday messages via a digital birthday wall on the center's website. The center is also holding a week-long virtual celebration, and the Carter Presidential Library will also hold a naturalization ceremony for 98 people becoming U.S. citizens in honor of his 98th birthday. Carter was president from 1977 to 1981. He and his wife also celebrated their 76th wedding anniversary in July. All right, instead of our typical sponsor break right here, and before we get to more of the fun news, I want to feature some of the amazing voicemails you all left for our 5-year anniversary of the show. And today is International Podcast Day, so there's another reason to celebrate podcasts and, more importantly, their listeners. So here's what a few of you had to say.
Hi, Erica. My name is Mackenzie. I wanted to call and thank you for offering the Newsworthy podcast. My husband and I were starting to get really discouraged listening to the news and feeling very overwhelmed in 2020 when we found your podcast. It helped us navigate the news and talk about things together without feeling overwhelmed. Thank you so much for what you share.
Hey, Erica, this is Michael from Indiana. I love your new show. It helps me stay on top of events even when my time is limited. I especially enjoy Money Monday, Work Wednesday, Thing to Know Thursday, and your special Saturday editions. Keep up the great work. We love you.
Hey, this is Katie calling in from Kentucky. I've been a listener of the Newsworthy for 3 years now. And as a mom on the go, this podcast is a great way for me to stay informed. It fits perfectly in with my busy morning routine. So thank you all for everything you do, and congrats on 5 years.
Thank you, Mackenzie, Michael, Katie, and everyone who called in this week. It means so much to us. We'll feature a couple more later in this episode, and happy International Podcast Day. It was one of the biggest public offerings in Europe ever. Iconic sports car brand Porsche began trading yesterday in a blockbuster IPO. So remember, IPO is short for Initial Public Offering. It means the company started trading on a stock exchange. Or in other words, a privately held company begins to sell shares to the public for the first time and becomes a publicly traded company. Porsche debuted on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange in Germany. Parent company Volkswagen raised more than $9 billion from the offering, saying it'll use the money to invest in software and electric vehicles. The market debut had a strong start but ended the day flat. Still, when it comes to IPOs this year, Porsche is considered a bright spot. The New York Times reports the number of IPOs globally has fallen 40% over the last year, likely because of such volatile markets. For the first time in its nearly 20-year history, Facebook will downsize. Reports say Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg told employees a hiring freeze is in place now, and then he plans to reduce headcount. Meta is not alone in this. Some of the other big tech companies, Google, Apple, and Microsoft, are announcing similar plans to slow down, including hiring freezes. It comes as tech stocks have been down. The S&P 500 ended yesterday at the lowest it's been all year. Meanwhile, Meta revealed what it calls Make a Video. It's an AI program that can apparently create a quick new video from nothing but text. So, for example, you can type out a dog wearing a superhero cape flying through the sky, and it'll create a video a few seconds long of just that. The system can also create new videos from a single image or other video. It's not available to the public just yet, but the company plans to release more later this year. It's game over for Google's Stadia. The gaming system let you stream video games similar to the way you might stream shows and movies on Netflix. It launched 3 years ago, but never really found a footing. Google will officially shut down Stadia in January and give users a refund on all of their purchases. But Google is still going all in on maps. For example, some new features will soon include Immersive View, which will use predictive modeling and historical trends to allow you to visually fly over an area and see what the weather, traffic, and crowds walking in the streets might look like at any time or any day. And Search with Live View is another new feature. It turns your phone camera into a virtual reality map. Some of these new features will first be available in major cities like New York and San Francisco in the coming months. Even Twitter is now going to look more like TikTok. The company announced it's launching a couple of new video-focused features, and one is a scrollable TikTok-like feed. In the coming days, some users will be able to click on a video they see on Twitter and then be taken to the new scrollable feed. There will also be a Videos for You category in the Explore tab to see popular and trending videos it thinks you might like. The new features will roll out on the iOS Twitter app in the next few days. No word yet when Android users might get them. After nearly 3 decades, the Sanderson sisters are back. Hocus Pocus 2 is officially out today. The highly anticipated sequel is only available to stream on Disney+. Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy return as the 3 sisters who run amok in the town of Salem, but that's about all that's the same from the original film. The movie is loosely based on Salem's real history with witches. And if streaming the movie isn't enough, you can also stay at the Sanderson cottage through Airbnb. Yep, it only costs $31. But there is a catch. It's only available for one night for 2 people on October 20th. The listing will be offered on Airbnb starting October 12th at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, here are a couple more listener voicemails as we celebrate 5 years of The Newsworthy and International Podcast Day.
Hi, my name is Amy. I live in Houston, Texas. I love listening to The Newsworthy every day on my way to work. In 10 minutes, I'm in awe of how Erica can put so much detail and information about topics ranging from Rihanna at the Super Bowl to Italy's new prime minister to a hurricane that is going to impact my daughter living in Florida. All of those stories are important to me on various levels. In 10 minutes, I'm able to get snippets of each of them. And if I want to know more, I can go to the show notes. It's perfect and saves me so much anxiety from having to listen to overhyped news.
This is Holly from California, and I just love The Newsworthy. I only have a short amount of time to listen to my news in the morning, and it gets me caught up on everything going on. News used to make me so nervous and anxious, but I feel like the positive spin and positive voice really helps me digest news in a healthy way. So thanks, Newsworthy. Love you guys.
Thank you, Holly and Amy. And Amy, we hope your daughter in Florida is doing okay after the storm. We will try to feature more voicemails in the coming weeks. I thank you all for leaving them, and we appreciate all of you who are listening each day. Thanks again for being here. Okay, now back to Feel Good Friday. He is a record breaker inside of the ring and out of it. I'm talking about John Cena, the actor, host, and WWE legend. Well, his latest record may be the most valuable yet. He's now officially the Guinness World Record holder for the most wishes granted for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. While no one else has granted more than 200 wishes, Cena has granted an amazing 650 wishes to children who are fighting the most serious illnesses. Cena is certainly a favorite. He's actually the most requested celebrity through the organization. He said that he will drop everything he's doing to help be involved in a wish. And he's not just saying that, he actually does it on his own. Over the summer, he met with a young fan of his from Ukraine named Misha, who has Down syndrome and is nonverbal. Misha's mom didn't know how to explain to him that they needed to leave Ukraine because of the war, so she told him they were going to meet John Cena. Well, when the actual John Cena found out about it, he happened to be in Europe, so he arranged to meet with Misha in Amsterdam. The two spent the day hanging out, comparing their muscles, and eating some cake. All right, we will be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode, and it's a fun one. We break down what the science really says about coffee. Then join us again Monday for your next news roundup. For now, thank you so much for listening and have a great weekend.